featuring Chaos Shuffle, Lights Out, and 2v8. One of my biggest pet peeves in the entire world is people who talk about things that they know nothing about, or people who confidently speak from a position of ignorance. I firmly believe that if you're going to discuss a topic, if you're going to give your opinion, or if you're going to attempt to teach on it, you need to understand what is actually going on. And the reason I hate this so much is because, one, I don't want you to look stupid. I don't want anybody to look stupid. I hate stupidity. It pisses me off. I want everyone to look intelligent, because I believe that even though, yes, there are people who are smarter than others in this world, you are all sentient human beings, and I would rather you use the large brains that evolution gave you to actively do things in a correct and timely manner. Walking around just spouting out shit that's not true, and then claiming that you know what you're talking about by giving your opinion on a topic that you obviously haven't researched, is frustrating and exceedingly fucking annoying. On the similar side, I think that if you're going to talk about experiences that other people have, you should, one, at least have those experiences, or two, you should have a large enough sample size of people with those experiences to draw their experience from, so that you can actually give your opinion on the topic at hand. With all that in mind, there is a very good reason I haven't made a video on killer anxiety yet. Killer anxiety has apparently been a very hot button topic over the past, like, 2 to 3 weeks. Spooky Loops dropped a video on it, and then all of a sudden, everybody from large YouTubers like Scott Jund to very tiny 100 subscriber YouTuber channels started throwing the topic just rapid fire out everywhere. I believe that Scrump made a video about killer anxiety like 7-ish months ago, so he was actually probably the first person to do it as far as I know, but he might have gotten the idea from someone else. Again, I don't know. The point is that it's been a very highly discussed topic lately, to the point where the topic actually showed up during my interview with KMD that I did last week as one of the community submitted questions. And this is not the first time that I've been asked to talk about killer anxiety. In fact, on the day that Spooky Loops' video dropped, I received no less than 5 DMs and about 3 comments from people asking me to please give my opinion, because it seems like something that I would have a fully fleshed out opinion on. But guys, I'm here to tell you, I kinda don't. This video is going to be incredibly short. In fact, I'm looking at the recording time now. If this breaks like 6 minutes, I'll be honestly surprised. But here's the main crux of the thing. I haven't made a video on killer anxiety and what it's like to deal with it and all of this stuff, because I don't deal with it. And this is why my entire spiel about knowing what you're talking about and speaking from experience comes into play, because I can't tell you how to deal with killer anxiety. I can't tell you what the devs can do to fix killer anxiety, because I don't have killer anxiety. I have killer frustrations, I have killer anger, but there's no part of me that is anxious when queuing up for the killer role. And the more of these videos that I watch on the topic, the more it just feels a tad unrelatable to me. I don't care about whether or not I'm going to lose when I roll into a game of killer. I care about whether or not I'm going to have a good fucking time, and unfortunately for the killer role right now, that's just simply not the case. But that's, again, a video I've talked about multiple times, and maybe we'll do a different one again at some point in the future. I don't have anxiety about what the in-game chat's going to look like, because I am a content creator. If the in-game chat is a bunch of salty survivors or complete bullies or whatever, I could just turn it into a video, right? And also, if it's really that bad, we have that little arrow to turn it off. But I don't feel anxiety about going up against 4 people. In fact, the entire reason I main killer is because I don't have to rely on anybody else, right? Part of the reason I hate the survivor role is because if me and the survivors I'm queuing up with aren't on the same wavelength, then it becomes fucking miserable. That's the reason I don't play as much survivor as I do killer. I do play a lot of survivor, I just don't play it as much as I do killer. I'm about a 70-30, 60-40 split, somewhere in there. So the reality of the situation is that all the reasons people list for having killer anxiety, I play killer for those reasons. Going up against 4 people, having to actually think about a very large macro sense, and having to carry your own game on your back are all incredibly fun aspects of the role to me. Having a shitty in-game chat, while it can be frustrating from time to time, is content for me as a content creator. And when I'm not making content, when I'm not recording games or anything, I turn the fucking thing off. I just completely just ignore it. It doesn't exist to me. One of the biggest things that I have anxiety around, I guess, is being a content creator, but that has nothing to do with being a killer. When you're a content creator and people know who you are, people do try to grief your games, and a couple of times in the past they have come after me in my personal life because Dead by Daylight players are certifiably fucking psychotic. But the thing is that I don't understand killer anxiety, and I haven't made a video breaking it down and giving you advice on how to deal with it because I don't feel it. And I think that at the end of the day, if I want to make this video, if I want to talk about killer anxiety, instead of talking about the subject itself, which I don't have any personal experience with, I want to direct it at you, the viewer, who also doesn't have personal experience with it and are attempting to tell people that they're being ridiculous. I have said this multiple times in the past, and I will continue to say it until it gets through the thick skull of the vast majority of the population, but your experiences and your personal feelings to something are not written in stone. They are not the end-all be-all of how the world works and how it should work. This is something outside of Dead by Daylight, but I'm going to use real-world examples here. Let's say you belong to a marginalized group. We'll use one I belong to because it's just easier. Let's talk about being queer, right? LGBT. I am a non-binary, bisexual person, and therefore the F slur, F-A-G-G-O-T, as you might know it, that I can't say because YouTube will strike me down, is a word that is buried in controversy within the queer community. And the reason it is because it is a slur historically used to demonize and disenfranchise us. It is a slur that was yelled at me when I got jumped by 4 people in a parking lot after I came out as bisexual. It is a slur that has been used to hurt our people, and therefore a lot of our people, a lot of fellow queers, do not like the word being used by anyone who is not a part of our space. And it goes further than that. Some of them also do not like the word being used by literally anyone, even if you are a part of our space. But that's a discussion for us queer people to have amongst ourselves. If you're not a part of the queer community, if you are a straight cis person, you don't get an opinion on that, right? You don't get to tell us how to feel about a word that doesn't affect you, right? But on the other side of that very similar coin, if you are a queer person who doesn't care about the word and the word never affects you and the word is not something that matters to you, you still don't get to tell fellow queer people how they are allowed to respond to the word. Because at the end of the day, if it's not causing you harm and it doesn't affect you and you're not bothered by it, then it's not your fucking job to explain to people who are bothered by it that they just shouldn't be bothered by it because you obviously don't understand their perspective. Pulling this back into Dead by Daylight, the killer anxiety discussion, if you don't feel killer anxiety, like me, you don't have the right to tell people who do that they're being ridiculous. Because at the end of the day, those people have personal experiences, maybe even mental problems or strains that you don't know about. And you don't get to tell them that they're being absurd or ridiculous or that they shouldn't have it or that, you know, they need to just fucking lighten up or whatever, because your experiences, your perspective does not necessarily match everybody else's. And so I really am getting kind of annoyed at getting to these videos, going through the comments, reading some of these, and seeing people just being utter assholes to other human beings because those human beings are feeling some way that they have decided is ridiculous, quote unquote. It's incredibly frustrating to me. So yeah, I don't feel killer anxiety. Yes, I don't get it. I don't understand how anybody can feel anxiety about what the fuck was that stumble? Holy shit. I don't understand how anyone can feel anxiety about queuing up in a video game, but because I don't understand it, I'm not going to tell somebody else that they're like not valid for their concerns, that they're not valid for their reasonings, because yeah, I don't get it, but you guys do. So yeah, that's my video on killer anxiety. You guys can stop blowing up my inbox about it now. Anyway, as always, a great big special thank you to my channel members listed on screen now. If you want to find out how to become a channel member today, get awesome perks like seeing videos early, merch discount codes, and more, then please click that join button down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.